All right, so we'll get started now. So as I say, many thanks to everybody for joining. So I'd like to welcome you today on this incredibly hot day. So thank you for joining us and being here. We are delivering a webinar on how Ardens can help you to deliver on the early diagnosis of cancer PCN DES requirements. So my name's Kat Hodges and I'm the Surrey Primary Care Lead for the Surrey and Sussex Cancer Alliance, and I'm a salaried GP in Northwest Surrey. And I'm joined by our guest speaker today, who is Charmaine Jackson, who's the Head of Training and Support for Ardens for EMIS Web. So a huge thank you, Charmaine, for joining us. Just a few housekeeping things. Please do feel free to communicate using the chat function, and we'll try and answer any questions that we can during the presentation, or take things away and respond afterwards if unable to answer during this. We are recording the meeting, just so you're aware, and we will circulate it with slides after, and we'll host the recording on our Alliance website. So for those that are unable to join, or if you wish to watch back certain bits, then that will be a useful resource for you. Really, we recognise primary care is very stretched, and we're hoping that this webinar is going to give you some really useful tips that can be easily implemented to deliver on that DES and improve patient care in the process. So just a little run through of what we'll be covering. So we're going to just give a brief overview of those PCN DES requirements. We've got some safety alerts to identify the early signs of cancer, possible cancer searches, the tools that you can use, fast track ones and the cancer analyzer, and then some of the more network searches and the IIF ones as well for FIT. So that is what Charmaine will be covering. Just a kind of brief setting the scene of why early cancer diagnosis is important. So it's part of the NHS long-term plan, which set out that ambition by 2028, the proportion of cancers diagnosed at stages 1 and 2 will rise from about half now to 3/4 of cancer patients. So if we're diagnosing cancer at this early stage, there's a much greater chance of being able to treat the disease successfully, often with less invasive procedures and fewer long-term side effects. And it's important that we're diagnosing cancer as fast as possible so that treatment can start quickly and the right treatment be started. So really helping to kind of personalise that care. And then people diagnosed earlier with cancer are not only more likely to survive, but really importantly, they're much likely to have a better experience of care with lower treatment morbidity and improved quality of life compared with those diagnosed later. So these are the 5 requirements for the early diagnosis of cancer PCN DES. And you've got 1, the reviewing referral practice for suspected and recurrent cancers, 2, improving uptake of cervical and bowel screening. You've got a 3A to adopt and embed FIT testing, and 3B for teledermatology to support the skin cancer referrals. And number 4, you've got increasing proactive and opportunistic assessment for prostate cancer. And then finally, reviewing the use of non-specific symptom pathways. So I'm going to hand over now to Charmaine to lead us through how we can use all of the wonderful tools within Ardens. So thank you very much, Charmaine.
Thank you, Kat, and hopefully you can see my EMIS screen now. But thank you everyone for joining today. I know how hot it is, so I will try and get through this as much as I can and clear as I can as well. As mentioned, my name is Charmaine, and I'm going to be showing you the cancer resources that we have available within Ardens to support you with your network DES work. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually direct you to our network DES searches, because these will give you a good idea of actually what's happening for your practice right now. So the work that you've done, and it will also help you to identify your outstanding work, particularly for the cancer areas of network DES. So I want to point those out to you because that will give you good guidance on where you are now and where you need to go. So in the population reporting module, which is where you'll find all of our Arden searches, within the Arden searches folder, anything relating to network DES is this folder here, which is the 5.32 network contract DES search folder. Now just pay attention, because at the very right hand side of that folder name, there is a version number. And the reason why I point that out is because we do tend to make changes to these search folders here. And we do let practices know when there have been changes made. But we always say, before you do any big bits of work on this, before you identify what work is outstanding, just make sure that you are on our very latest search folder. We do update you automatically, but not as regular. So what we do is we make these folders available for you on the Ardens portal, which is a separate browser which gives you access to all of our search folders so that you can download them straight away rather than you waiting for us. Currently, we are on version 31.6 of this particular folder here, so it just might be worth having a look to see what version number you are currently running. Now, when you open up the Network Contract DES folder, we've made it really straightforward and easy for you to follow. So here is your early cancer diagnosis folder, which will support you with the supporting early cancer diagnosis requirement of your PCN DES. And within this folder here, we've broken down what work you have achieved so far, so the work that has been done. And underneath the work that's been done, we've broken down your clinical activity for your referrals and diagnosis. And I will come into a bit more detail about these searches later on, but just to show you where they are right now. And then we've got the clinical activity screening searches, which will help you to understand what your screening uptake is. And what we've also done is we've narrowed it down by minority groups, So if you are needing to look at your LD patients and the uptake that they have had, or your safeguarding, or your SMI, or your homeless, or your BAME patients, then we've narrowed those down for you within these searches. And like mentioned, I will come back to these at the end of the session so that you can understand how they all work. And then you've got your work to do folder, which will highlight outstanding work to be done. So it will tell you where a referral has been done, but there's no safety netting in place. There's been no recording of safety netting done. And we're also letting you know where screening advice is overdue. And again, we're narrowing it down by those different minority groups if you do want to prioritize in any way. So that's the searches for early cancer diagnosis. And just above that, you've got the investment and impact fund. So this is your IIF work, particularly looking at the CAN 01, looking at the fit testing requirements that need to be completed. Again, it follows the same structure: work done, work to do. And what we do then is, under the work done, we point out exactly where you are meeting that achievement. So we're telling you the fit testing that has been done in the right time frame, depending on when the lower GI referral has been sent. So these are your guidance searches that are here, ready and waiting for you to run these searches to work out what's being done now and what still needs to be done. Now, accessing the patient's record now and talking to you a bit further about some of our cancer resources. Now, we have a different variety of cancer resources, all from helping you to identify really early signs of cancer for your patients, through to the management of that patient once they've been diagnosed, or if they've been diagnosed with cancer. And where needed, we also show you end of life and provide you with end of life and palliative care resources if you need them. So complete journey for that particular patient. For identifying early signs of cancer, which supports the supporting early cancer diagnosis requirements of Network DES, there are a few resources that are available for you. The first one that I want to talk about is our clinical safety alerts. Now, the clinical safety alerts have always been available within Arden, so this is not new. And what these are doing is they're prompting if there are potential safety issues for your patients, and we're doing that in real time when you're entering information. So as an example, I've got a patient here who's age 60, and I'm diagnosing them with type 2 diabetes for the very first time. So what that will do is it will flag up the recommended NICE guidance based on the criteria for that patient. So we are flagging up where potentially there could be early signs of cancer for your patient, so that you can look into that and follow up on that patient urgently straight away, rather than you having to rely on running searches every so often. So these clinical safety warnings will pop up in real time, like I mentioned, for all staff within the practice, just depending on whether or not they're entering that particular criteria. And these clinical safety warnings, they follow the very latest cancer guidance, or the NICE cancer guidance, just as you can see there. And what we've done for you is we've put the recommendation of what you need to consider next within this box here. So it's clear and it's safe on what you need to do next. Now, we are constantly on top of making sure that we're following all of the latest NICE guidance. And as soon as there's any updates or changes that need to be made, we will make those straight away, and we will ensure that you're updated urgently. So we're always on top of this. And these clinical safety warnings are also reviewed by our clinical team. So they have a clinical input behind them as well. Now, you can access the full guidance if you wish by clicking on the link. But like I mentioned, we have summarized what needs to be done for that patient next. So looking at whether or not the patient has had any weight loss that you may want to rule out. Now, these cancer alerts will pop up as and when required, because when we deploy them to your system, we deploy them as active. So they'll be working straight away as soon as that information is being recorded in the record. And you can find them all in the background of the system. So if I go to the EMIS bubble and down to configuration, either you're going to be seeing a module that says template manager or a module that says resource publisher. And within that, you would then click on the Ardens folder under the protocols and templates area. And within the Ardens folder, there will be the clinical safety protocols. And there's a folder for cancer here. Now, the reason why I'm pointing this out, because it might be worth checking to make sure that they're definitely active. Although we deploy them active, you can deactivate them at practice level. So you may want to check that actually no one's deactivated it in the meantime, because these are really important to help you with your network DES work. So just make sure that they are active. You can see there that we have a few more reminders when it comes to cancer as well. So I showed you the new diabetes alert. We've also got high platelets alert. We've got a fit kit reminder alert, which we've just recently created. So they will all be there ready and working in the patient's record when needed to alert your staff. Now, what we also have in addition to this is our possible cancer searches. So these can be found within the population reporting area. We came here earlier when we looked at the network contract DES searches, but sticking with the Ardens folder, if you scroll right down to the bottom, there's a folder there for 5.6 Ardens cancer searches, and it highlights other cancer searches that we have available for you. And I'm going to be dipping in and out of these during the session today. The possible cancer search folder will help you to identify, again, potential patients who may have cancer. And what we've done is we've broken it down by the different departments. So this is particularly looking at information that's already been recorded in the patient's record and querying not whether a referral needs to be sent or an urgent investigation needs to be done for that patient. What we've done for you is we've broken it down by department. So this relates to breast, childhood cancer, gynae, and if we move down, we've got hematology there as well. We've got lower GI, particularly looking at the fit testing. We'll come back to fit testing later on when we look at the IIF requirements. And then you've got lung and you've got prostate and upper GI. So they're all broken down, querying particular departments. And what I would suggest is have someone in your practice definitely running these searches on a regular basis, making sure that your clinicians are being highlighted with these particular patients. And when you run this search folder, so just simply highlight the folder, right click and click on run, the patients that you need to do the work on are the patients within the population included tab once you've run those searches. So these are all the patients that you need to be working on because they meet the requirements of this particular search. So that is your possible cancer searches, which you will find in the 5.6 Ardens cancer searches folder. And I'm just going to pause there just to check if we have had any questions that come through that are related to that so far. I don't think we have, so that's fine. Now, just back to the patient records and the next tool that I want to talk about. So if you would like to check whether a patient's symptoms and findings meet the criteria for a referral, and this is all based on the NG12 guidance, then this is where the Cancer Analyzer tool can help you. The Cancer Analyzer tool is working with the NG12 guidance, the latest NG12 guidance, and it's again letting you know next steps for that patient based on all of their symptoms and all of their findings. This particular resource is only available to those practices that are using Resource Publisher. If you are a practice that's using Template Manager, unfortunately, we cannot deploy it to your system because it's such a big protocol which relies on different concepts. Without getting so technical, it does cause issues when we're trying to get it into template manager sites. But EMIS have promised that anyone that is currently not a resource publisher site, by September, you should hopefully be moving over to resource publisher. And if you don't know whether you're a template manager or a resource publisher, the easier way to find out is if you click on the EMIS bubble and down to configuration, either you're going to be seeing resource publisher here, or you're going to be seeing template manager. So if you see resource publisher, you can use this tool. If not, it will be coming for you soon. Now, how to use the tool, it's based on the use of templates. So when in a consultation and you click on the run template option, what you're searching for is a suspected cancer symptoms template. So you just type that in there and that will find you that template. And again, if you're a template manager, it won't come back. So that's another sign that you're currently not a resource publisher site. Now, when you launch this template, this is the initial template that you would use to capture as many symptoms and findings as you can for that particular patient. So whatever that patient is presenting with. And the more symptoms and the more findings that you can capture for that patient, the more accurate the guidance will be on the next step, which I will show you. So on the left-hand side here, you can see here that we've broken it down by specific symptoms if you want to record that information. So you've got abdo, you've got bleeding, you've got gynae, you've got lumps, etc. So you would use the pages on the left-hand side to complete as much information as possible. So I'm going to pick up that this patient has abdo pain and they're also experiencing rectal bleeding. So you would go ahead and complete as much information as you can. Now, before you click on Save Template, always remember to complete the 2 hashtag pages before you click on Save, because this is then ensuring that you're picking up anything else as well before you then go to the next stage. The non-specific features page will again pick up any non-specific features that you feel may suggest, again, possible signs of cancer. So here, I may want to say that my patient is also, I don't know, I'll pick one of the options on there. I'm going to say experiencing weight loss, but you can also capture smoking status if needed within this page as well. The primary care investigation page allows you to look at the patient's blood tests, their recent blood tests. This is really good because it saves you having to go through the patient's record. It saves you having to go through the investigations tab. What we've done is we pulled through the most recent relevant blood tests that you may want to look at. And then on the right-hand side, you'll be able to see whether or not that patient has that particular blood test and when. So here I can see the patient's had a hemoglobin on the 4th of August, and this is what it was. If I scroll down further, I can then further explain those blood test results if I feel it's necessary. So for instance, I'm going to pick up anemia as an example, but you've got iron deficiency there, you've got different ESRAs, you've got different options that you may want to use to further explain those particular results. Also, imaging tests as well. So if you want to record the fact that the patient's had an X-ray or an ultrasound, then you can tick the relevant information using the boxes provided. And once you've completed all of that information, so again, it's just stressing, make sure you capture as many symptoms and findings as possible. You then click on the Save Template option. And what that will then do is it will bring up this multiple choice question box, and it will answer you whether or not you're ready now to launch the Cancer Analyzer template. And the Cancer Analyzer template will give you your guidance based on the symptoms and findings that you've captured. If instead you want to go back because you want to capture more, then you can say no, or you can exit if you wish. But the next step is obviously saying yes at this point. This will then launch the next template, and this template is where you'll get all of your guidance. So the symptoms page is based on visibility rules. It will only show you the options that you have selected for that particular patient on that day. And then on the left-hand side, depending on what you've picked, so remember I picked abdo pain, so therefore it's giving me the full guidance around abdo pain. And I also picked rectal bleeding, so therefore it's showing me guidance around bleeding as well. So here's my full guidance on each of the particular symptoms that I picked up. But at the very bottom, I've got just a one-stop summary page of everything that I need to complete next for that patient, based on all of the symptoms and findings that I've captured in that very first template. So the nice recommendations here, based on, and I'm not clinical, so please excuse me, I'll just pick some options just to show you what it would do, but it's telling me here, maybe I need to offer an urgent chest x-ray, I may need to look at referrals. These are the referrals I need to be doing. So it gives me all of the guidance that I need. And down the bottom, I can type in any additional information if I wish to explain the outcome that I've taken now that I've viewed this particular information. And then I can go ahead and save it and then do the following next actions as required. We're going to go back into searches later, but also to let you know that we have searches based on the use of this tool as well. So we have searches, actually I'll show you the searches now just because it fits nicely, but if I go into the population reporting module and back into the network contract DES searches, remember earlier we visited the early cancer diagnosis folder. And if you look at the work done and you look at the referrals and diagnosis, notice there that we have searches based on the use of our NG12 analyzer tool. So it will be able to report on you from the use of that. These are the 2-week wait referrals that have been made since then. From the use of that, this is the new diagnosis that have happened within 6 months. So that you've got that referral activity and trend and theme to report on for your practice if you need to. So that's our cancer analyzer tool, and hopefully that makes sense so far, but please do let me know if there are any questions. We have step-by-step guidance on all of this information that I'm showing you here today so that we can send this on so you can refer back to that and share it with your colleagues if you need to. Now, when I click on save here, the next part it will then talk about is the fast track safety netting resources. And these are actually available for all of our customers. So it doesn't matter whether you're a template manager or whether you're a resource publisher, you will have access to the fast track safety netting resources. Now, you don't need to get through to it this way. If you just want to open up the fast track template separately, you can. So just go back to the run template option and search for fast track, and you will find the next template that I'm about to show you here. But if you have been using our analyzer tool, it's now suggesting whether or not you want to launch the fast track safety netting template, which I am going to do. And the whole point of the fast track safety netting template is to support you with your cancer safety netting work as part of your network DES. So if you don't have a cancer safety netting process in place, or you want to change that to make it more consistent, then this template and these resources are really good to help you implement that change within your practice. It's really helping you to keep track of those patients that have been sent a 2-week wait referral, keep track of any urgent diagnostics for your patients. And it also gives you the ability to monitor your high-risk patients. If you're not ready to send them on to secondary care yet, you want to monitor their symptoms, then this resource here can help you with that as well. So it's broken down the template into the 3 different areas I mentioned there. So you've got your referral tracking, which I'll talk about first. You've got your diagnostic tracking, and then you've got your symptom safety netting. If we start with the referral tracking, at the very top, here is the tick box here to tick to say that you have done cancer safety netting for that patient. And we've highlighted that in red because that is a network contract DES requirement. So we're reminding you that you need to complete this information to meet that requirement. What this system is looking out for is a fast track code to be entered into the patient's record. So this next step here will look at the fast track codes being used. Now, either you can select the fast track referral that the patient's being sent for, but if you're using our cancer referrals within your system, which I'm going to show you next, then automatically that will put a fast track code in the patient's record. So if you've done that, you'll be able to see the information on the right-hand side. And I will show you our cancer referrals shortly. And then moving down, information that you've given to that patient. So again, rather than you having to type that information out, you can just tick that you've given written information to that patient. You can say that you've advised what's happening next, etc. So you can use the tick boxes there to complete your consultation. And we've also got a link to the patient information for urgent referrals, should you wish to give that to your patient. And remember, you've got a link there. So if you're using anything like AccuRx, you'll be able to text that patient that information if needed. Now, what will then happen is that will then go into the system. So the system can see that you have put a fast track referral in place. And what it will then do is then check in to see whether or not your admin team have coded the fact that the patient has been seen in clinic. And when they are using this system, it's really important that they're using the following seen in fast track codes in order to make this system work. And if the system cannot see after 3 weeks' time that this patient has had a seen in code, it's assuming that this patient is outstanding. So in the pink box and the QOF box on the right-hand side, you'll get an alert here to say that there is a 2-week fast track referral outstanding for that patient. So anyone that's accessing that patient record will be able to see that information. Now, this is not the only way that we're flagging up, because we understand it's not also the safest way. We also have searches in the background, which you can be a bit more proactive. You can get your secretaries, your admin team to run on a regular basis to make sure that patients are being picked up regularly when they are outstanding with their referral. And I will show you where those searches are in a minute. So just need to make sure that your admin team are recoding the seen in, so it then clears the alert on the right-hand side in the pink box. We also do the same for diagnostic tracking. So here, if you want to keep track of any urgent diagnostics, and you can tick the urgent box. This is really useful for your fit testing as well. We've got the option for fit testing in there, should you wish to keep track of your fit tests for your patients. So again, that's another thing that is required for your investment impact funds. So that is there for you to use as well. Or it might mean that you're urgently sending them for a CT scan, a blood test, etc. So you can use all of the relevant tick boxes here to say exactly what you want to track that patient for. And what will then happen after 3 weeks' time, if the system cannot see results have automatically come through for that patient, then you'll be alerted in the pink box to say that there's outstanding diagnostics for that patient. And the last part of this, before I show you the searches, is the symptom safety netting. So this is mainly for your high-risk patients who you may want to monitor in the meantime. If you click on the symptom safety netting page here and tick the active monitoring of patient box, you can say what you're monitoring for that patient. So you can pop in all of the information in the text box there. And then using the date field, you can then specify how long you're monitoring those symptoms for. So I'm going to say 1 week's time, so 1W, and that will work out a date for 1 week's time for me. M for months, D for days, Y for years. Obviously, it won't be years, but just that's how the calculations work within EMIS. Again, you'll get a little pop-up alert in the box here when it's due for those patients to have those symptoms monitored again. Now, I've mentioned searches. So if I go to the population reporting area, to find the fast track safety netting searches, this is where you found the possible cancer searches earlier. So the fast track safety netting searches, you'll be able to find in the 5.6 Ardens cancer searches folder. Within that, you'll have a search folder for fast track safety netting, broken down by the same way as the template. So you've got your referrals, your diagnostics, and your symptoms. For your fast track referrals, you can either be a bit proactive. So this is letting you know a little bit earlier outstanding referral forms. So these referral forms are outstanding between 10 days and 3 weeks old. You want to get to them a bit sooner than that. These are outstanding 3 weeks to 90 days old. And these are outstanding more than 90 days old if you want to do some housekeeping and make sure that everything is okay for those patients. Just to note that the fast track alert will disappear after 90 days. So it won't sit in the alert box forever, but it's just definitely worth checking your process at the moment if you want to use this system, because I know a lot of the time letters come back via DocMan. So you could set up a way in DocMan where it's coding the actual fast track seen in codes rather than anything else. You can do that on DocMan, or just in general, just alerting your admin team that we do have templates in place, which will show them what seen in codes to use if they wish to use them. For your diagnostics, again, it will show you anything that is old between 3 weeks and 90 days old, or more than 90 days old. And we've also broken down your fit testing too. So if you just want to focus on your fit testing that is outstanding, then you've got that information there. So no results have come in, or they've come in and they've not been reviewed. And last of all, you've got your symptoms there. So this is the third page that I showed you in the template, and this is looking at patients who are due their symptom monitoring in the next week, or they're outstanding up to a month, or they're outstanding more than a month. So it's almost like a mini recall system when it comes to your symptom monitoring. And then we've just included this folder here, which is a Network DES cancer safety netting. There is another place that you can look at this as well, but this is looking at all of the 2-week wait referrals for suspected cancer where there has been no safety netting in place, in case you want to go in and make sure that's all updated. When you run these searches here, the patients that you need to do the work on is a population included tab. You'll find a lot of the Arden searches, it's the population included tab you need to go to meet the criteria. All of these searches, whether it's a positive or a negative, they're normally in the population included tab. So it's slightly different for your QOF searches where you're normally looking at the population excluded tab. So that's our fast track safety netting resources. And again, I hope that's made sense, and let me know if there are any questions. I am monitoring the questions, but I don't think there's anything that's come through for the fast track. So hopefully that has made sense, but give us a shout if you want me to clarify anything more on that. Okay. So the next resource I want to focus on before I lastly focus back on the searches is the cancer referrals. So we have been working with your CCG to provide you with your inbuilt 2-week wait referral forms within your EMIS system. So it saves you having to access a different system. All of your referral forms are fully embedded within your EMIS system. And I understand that for Sussex, anyone that is a practice within the Sussex area, that has gone live for you today. And I understand for Surrey Heartlands, we may still be working on them. So if I just show you kind of how you access them and how they work, and I might get Steph from the CCG just to jump on to provide any more information that you might need to know from a CCG point of view. So an example I'm going to use here is a patient who I need to refer to the suspected breast clinic. So that's the example I'm going to use. And what your clinicians can do, or whoever's creating this particular referral, they can go ahead and they can complete their consultation in the standard way before they then merge all of that information into a referral. So particularly for breast screening or breast cancer referrals, you may want to indicate where the lump was on the patient's breast. And you can do that by using one of our templates called the clinical diagram template. And the clinical diagram template is just a straightforward annotation which allows you to record any bumps or lumps depending on where it is on the patient's body. Now, you would just type in clinical diagram using the search field here and then click on search and it will find you one straight away. But I'm not going to do that on my system because it takes ages, because we've got too many templates that we're working on. So instead, I'm going to navigate using the Ardens folder on the right hand side. And under the consultation templates folder and then the admin folder, there is a template called clinical diagram. So I'm not sure if any of you have used this one before. It's quite popular in our GP sessions, actually. It's a really straightforward template which allows you to record an annotation for that patient. So at the moment, I'm looking at the patient's head, but if I click on the config button, that then gives me access to all different parts of the patient's body. So I'm going to pick breast there and I'm going to click on OK. So now I can use the drawing tools to indicate where the lump is on the patient's body. And you can make it as obvious as you like using the relevant drawing tools available for you. I'm going to save that, and that saves it as part of my consultation. And then I can go ahead and I can type in any additional information for that patient. Now, if I am including the consultation in the referral that I'm about to launch, then it's really important that I save this consultation first, because I want this information to be included. So I'm going to click on save. And then once I've clicked on save, I can then go to the add option, down to document, and then you've got the option for create letter. Now, you would use the search option to find the exact referral form that you need to be looking for. And you probably need to, while you're getting used to this, use this search icon, but eventually all of the common ones that you use will be on your very first screen before I clicked on the magnifying glass. You're probably really used to using documents anyway, so it's no different to that. You would search for what you're looking for. So just type in 2WW and that should find you all of your 2-week wait forms. But just so you can see where they are in a folder location, you'll have the Ardens folder on your right-hand side. You won't have as many CCGs. If you're Sussex, you'll see the Sussex folder. If you're Surrey, you'll see the Surrey folder. And within that particular folder, this will then give you access to the different document templates that you have available. Under the CCG wide folder, which is available for all practices within Sussex, there is a 2-week wait form. And that at the moment gives you access to these four forms here: breast, gynae, lung, and urology. But my understanding is that the CCG are working with us to provide more. But at the moment, these are the ones that are available for you. So here I can pick up the breast cancer 2-week wait referral, and I'm going to click on OK. And what that will then do is it will take me through a series of prompts. So this is allowing me now to build up my referral form. So it's asking me if I want to include any values and investigations that's happened in the past X amounts of days. So I can tick anything that I feel will be necessary. It's then asking me what problems do I want to include, which is good because sometimes problems can be a problem within a practice, and often we're recording problems that are not actually problems. So rather than clog up your referral form, this is a good example. Seen in, I can untick anything that's not a problem, and then I can click on OK. It then wants me to include consultations. So I'm going to include that consultation that I've recorded today because I want to pick up that annotation, or I can pick up any other consultations if needed. And what that will then do, eventually, mine's a bit slow today, it will then launch the referral form and it will populate all of the information that I have included. And it will also give me the options to type in any additional information electronically. So I can use the tick boxes and the grey fields there to record any additional information. If I scroll down the bottom, you'll see in a minute that it will pull through the consultation, and there is the annotation that I included in my consultation that is now part of my referral form as well. The problems, etc. I would then go ahead, file, save and close it back to the patient's records. That will then be available in the patient's record to allow me to use it with Choose and Book on a next stage, or electronic referral service. It's not Choose and Book anymore. And then I can go ahead and do that. This is an additional option if you wish to use it. So if it's the secretaries now that you want to task the next stage to do the referral form electronically, you can have this prompt that will pop up, and you need to turn this on in the background if you do want this, to say, okay, I'm the GP, I've done the referral form this far, I now want the secretary to take over. So your GP can task the secretary by just clicking on yes, and that will open up the task box so they can task them to say complete the rest of the referral form, or whatever your process is currently. And that is the referral side. Steph, I don't know if you want to add anything more on there from a CCG point of view on the referral forms, because I know you've been working with us to do those. Not sure if she's still around, or Kat, or someone from the CCG. Otherwise, I'll keep going.
Thank you, Shemay. I mean, I think the rest of the referral forms are due to be updated and coming soon is probably the main thing. These have all been developed with the hospitals across the Surrey and Sussex patch.
Thank you. Okay, so the last area then that I was going to visit is the searches. So it's revisiting those network DES searches to make sure you're happy, and then also going into the rest of the cancer searches too to make sure that you're happy with those. So if I go back into population reporting, and remember anything relating to network DES, you'll find under the 5.32 folder. The early cancer diagnosis folder, remember you've got your work done. So the other searches that are available within the referral and diagnosis area, as well as your NG12 usage, you've also just looking at diagnoses that have been made from referrals. This is if you're not using our cancer symptom analyzer, we're still helping you to report on your cancer referral activity. So this is looking at from 2-week wait referral, from cancer screening, from any other presentation. And we're also looking at your 2-week wait referrals for suspected cancer and those that have had their safety netting. So that's what you'll find under here. I've mentioned screening already. So this is mainly looking at your screening uptake. We've either given you your total number of screening patients. So here you'll find your bowel, your breast, and your cervical screening. And we've also, like I mentioned earlier, we've narrowed it down by minority groups if you need to look at it that way. So we have BAME, we have blind, we have homeless, learning disability, safeguarding, SMI, and also transgender as well. For your work to do, it's mainly the screening advice that is overdue. And we do have a screening template, which is available for you your staff to record the screening advice if they need to. So that's available for them to search for if they want to do that. I would really pay attention to these searches up here, because this is looking again at where referrals have been completed within your system, but they've had no safety netting in place. So definitely worth looking through those lists of patients, opening up our fast track cancer safety netting template and making sure that that safety netting code is added to their record. And I'm not sure for data, we've got a data quality. I think this is just a really new one here. So this is looking at recording of cancer safety netting on day of 2-week wait referral as recorded once a day. So again, it's just looking at data quality issues if there are any. The investment impact fund. So work done folder was where I mentioned the cancer folder, which looks at the fit testing requirements. So this is looking at where you've actually achieved that bit of work, where the fit test has been done in the right time of the 2-week wait referral. What we also have is the data quality folder. And within the data quality folder, you have the cancer folder. And this is looking at where things may be going wrong, where fit tests have been coded incorrectly, and you want to make sure you update those, or where it's been done in the wrong time frame, or where there's no code whatsoever. So again, I would really be looking at this data quality folder quite regularly, just to make sure that you are picking up those patients if you have generally done the work for those patients. Now, what we have been finding with the fit testing area of Network DES is sometimes the fit tests that are coming in via the lab is not being matched automatically to the right code within your EMIS system, so the right code for your Network DES requirements. Now, we've got a support article, and you will have to do this via your workflow manager, but we've got a support article which will tell you how to match the fit test code, the fit test coming in to the right fit test code required for Network DES, and we will make sure that we send that to you all so that you've got that. But what I will say is if you are doing any matching, make sure you match every single scenario of a fit test come in, because sometimes they come in lowercase, uppercase, and there may be potentially ones that you are missing. So make sure you go down all the list, look at every scenario of a fit test, and make sure it is matched to the right fit test code that is required for your Network DES requirements. And do try and make sure you get that work done as soon as you can, because then that will save you having to go back into patients' records and changing anything that has been done in the past. So you want to make sure you're getting it right going forward. I can see we've got a question that's come up there. I'm having difficulties associating the clinical code. Okay, fine. If anyone's having issues on matching fit testing and you want us to kind of have a look with you over Teams and work out what's going on with you, then you can email our support team. We're going to give you our details at the end of the session, but it's just support-emis@ardens.org.uk. So support-emis@ardens.org.uk. If you let us know the issues that you're having, then we'll be able to set up a call with one of our product specialists and we can work out what's going on there. Thank you very much. I don't think there's anything more on that one that I wanted to show you. So just, yeah, make sure you have downloaded this latest folder, because it now does include this data quality folder, which includes your cancer folder, which will help you where things are going wrong with your fit tests that are being coded back into your patient's records. And then lastly, just to finish, going back to the cancer searches folder, I mentioned fast track safety netting. I've also mentioned possible cancer. We do have the national cancer screening services folder in here, which again is another way for you to see what your uptake is for bowel, breast and cervical screening. Cervical screening, we also have a mini recall system. So if you are responsible for recalling your patients who have now been invited twice, but they've still not followed up, then we do provide you with searches so that you can send that patient a third invite if you wish to. And then the last folder I want to mention is the prostate cancer risk folder. This is new, so make sure you've got the latest search folder, 2.2, Ardens cancer searches. And this is looking into patients who are possibly at risk for prostate cancer based on their background or based on particular criteria in their records. So these are very, very new. And I know your CCG particularly wanted me to highlight these searches. So really definitely make sure that you download these if you haven't got them. They are following the guidance that's expected for this area as well. Really straightforward to use. You're just running the search folder. And again, anyone that meets that criteria, you'll be able to find within the population included area. And then last folder I want to mention is just the Ardens case finders, because the case finders will help you identify where patients possibly are missing a cancer code in their records. So under the case finders, this folder here is helping you with prevalence altogether. So it's helping you finding patients who are missing off your registers. But we do have a cancer folder in here where we are querying cancer, again, based on some of the information that's being captured in the patient's record. Or it might mean that the wrong cancer code has gone into the patient's record, and it's helping you to capture that as well. So that's everything that I wanted to show you, and I can keep going, but it's hot and I've given you a lot of information already. But obviously from this, we then have resources to support you once that patient's been diagnosed with cancer, and also palliative care resources to help you with end of life care. We are always here to offer you any training if you think that you need it at practice level as well. So if you feel that this training would be good for your practice, then do get in contact. Just again, email our support team and we'll be able to organise that for you. But I hope that's been helpful, and do let me know. I'll stick around just to see if there's any more questions that come through via chat. But thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very, very much, Charmaine. That has been incredibly helpful. I don't know if you can stop sharing your screen and I'll just share. Lovely, thank you so much. Just share a couple more slides before we let you get on into the afternoon. But I think everyone will agree that that was just a brilliant run through of you know, what we need to complete the PCN DES requirements, and we've got a lot of very useful resources. I've just also highlighted here our other partners. We've created a resource pack around the PCN DES with a wealth of information, and we did do a webinar previously highlighting that, and the pack is due to be uploaded to our website along with that recording and along with this one as well. So you should be able to receive all of that information, and hopefully that will be incredibly useful to you going forward. So a big thank you to all our partners. We're really keen to get feedback, to know, you know, what going forward you'd like education around, and we'd be really grateful if you could just complete this very short survey. We'll put the code in the chat as well. So yeah, please do that, just so that we can make sure that we're tailoring our education sessions to what the needs are out there. And finally, again, a huge thank you to Charmaine from the Ardens team for your fantastic presentation today, and thank you to you all for joining us on this sweltering day and for sticking through. I hope you've got some cold water somewhere. We have some various contacts here, so we've got our generic Alliance email, there's the Arden support email there again, and then there's the link for our website for a primary care section where you will find in due course all of these resources to be uploaded. I don't know if there are any further bits that have come through in the chat, but we will certainly make sure that we circulate everything today. I don't know whether there was one there around coding issues, Charmaine, around workflow merger, lab reports.
Yeah, I think if they can contact us at support, it's probably easier for us to set up a call so we can log into the system and check what's going on at practice level.
Perfect. And I'm correct, aren't I, in saying that all of what you've shared today regarding EMIS is applicable to System 1, but there are resources on your website regarding the step-by-step to those that we can circulate as well. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. Everything that I've shown you today has the same thing for System 1 as well.
Perfect. So we will make sure that we share all of that with you. And again, a huge thank you. So I'm just going to pop back that feedback slide, and be grateful for anyone to fill that in, and we will be back with more education in due course. Have a good afternoon, everybody.